Thanks, everyone. So I am so excited. I think you would say I'm stoked to be here and talk about one more thing. And there are many reasons why. And one of them is that, who gets to say one more thing right in the beginning of a presentation? And the other thing is, so as many of you know, and I'm specifically looking at the speakers. Us speakers, we tend to work on our slides very last minute, and if you've watched me sitting down there where Stefan is sitting right now, you might have seen that I did that. But this is the first time ever that I get to tell you that my slides aren't finished yet, and I'm excited about it because I will build them on stage to show you all the tricks and tips that I use to build my slides. So, one more thing. How to build insanely great slides without losing your mind. So who am I? I'm Peter. I am a developer advocate on the Firebase team. And if you want to follow me, here is my Twitter handle, and it works on most of the other social networks as well. Bonus points if you take a picture of me, maybe losing my mind, or I don't know, failing at creating the slides here and posting it on your favorite social platform. Where am I from? This is where I live. Well, that's not my house, but I live in Hamburg. At the moment, though, I live in Berlin for a couple of months, and it's a beautiful city, but I was very excited to come here to Turin and enjoy the beautiful sunny weather and ice cream. All right, so now you may be wondering, why? Why this talk? And, I would tell you I want it that way. But no, the real reason is that I've done a ton of talks in my professional career. I'm actually as old as the Rubik's Cube. So for those of you who paid attention, now you know how old I am. And these are some of my talks. So if you use that QR code, you can find them. They're PDFs, so it's a little bit sad because all of those slides are heavily animated. And on the PDF, you can't do that. But there is a lot of topics. So the most recent ones are obviously about AI and how to use that in the context of Firebase. Some of them are about Apple technology, like the orange one there, about SwiftUI components. And there's plenty more, as you can see here. And if you look at my laptop lid, you will realize that I'm somewhat of a Hitchhiker's fan. And this presentation there I did very early on in, after the iPhone came out, and I thought, well, a lot of people are building applications, but this supercomputer in our pockets has so many features that we're not using. And in that presentation, I tried to tell people, hey, why don't you use all the sensors in the device, right? So for example, back then, there was an application that would listen to you tapping on the table, and you could basically program a virtual drum kit. So you tap on the table like that, and that might be the bass drum, and you clapped into your hand, and that might be the hi-hat and stuff like that. And I tried to inspire people. So lots of talks, and I've used lots of Keynote features, so all of those talks are done using Keynote. And I thought, why not show those tips and tricks to people so that maybe you have more fun creating slides, and everybody gets to enjoy more beautiful slide decks. So, Johnny Ive once said, when something exceeds your ability to understand how it works, it sort of becomes magical. And that's what I'm trying to do today. I'm going to try to show you how it works so you understand where it's coming from, how it's made, and then it's becoming even more magical for you.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years.
So, I've always wanted to use that clip. All right, so let's get in medias res and look around in the UI. So if you go into Keynote, then the first thing that's really important is the navigator. So it's on the left-hand side of the screen. And while I was building the slides, I took screenshots of the slides, and somebody said, well, this is a meme conference. So I thought, OK, let's do that as well. The next thing that not very many people know, and it's super powerful, is the object list. So the object list you get to if you drop down that menu and then click on Show Object List. And then you get this panel. And now it looks very unassuming, but it's very powerful because it shows you all the objects that are on your slide. And it allows you to drag them around and change the Z order. And that's super powerful, as you will see in a minute. So, and now you will understand why I have this super useful table, because I will show you how it works. So here we have our outline. Oh, well, there we go. So here we have the outline. And now let's assume that I want to move stuff around. So for example, I'll disconnect it again. I am.
Nope.
I am.
Maybe other user other side. Yes, let's try that.
Wait. Okay. Thanks. All right. So let's take something. So I'll put a new object here. And I'll make it very, very big. Let's assume that I wanted to have like a rectangle like that, for example. So I'll make it red. And now I want to put it into the background. So there are a couple of ways how you can do that. The first one is to just open the context menu and say send to back. But I can also like drag it in this outline and just drag it around. So everything that's on top of the outline is at the top, and everything that's at the bottom is behind everything else. Sometimes you might want to make edits to something, and then you want to prevent other stuff from moving around, and that's where you have the lock icon. So for example, let's say I want to make sure that this screenshot here doesn't move around, so I will lock it, and then even if I select everything and kind of try to move it around, like, it stays in place, right? So that is super useful for editing. Yeah, and then you can also group stuff. So let's take that rectangle again. Let's say we have another shape. Let's take this one here, for example. Let's say we wanted to create some sort of an arrow. So now I'm going to do that. Turn it into a group. And now I have a group up here. And now if I want to edit anything in that group, I've got two ways to do that. One is to double-click on the items in the group, but sometimes that doesn't work well. But the outline helps me. I can easily select the thing that I want to edit, and then I can make changes. Awesome. So next thing, rulers. So the rulers are something that helps you to position stuff on your screen. And usually they're hidden, but I've showed them by pressing Command R. And now let's use them. So I can drag out a ruler by clicking in a ruler and then just dragging it somewhere. And actually, let's create a new slide to make it easier. So I'm dragging this out. Let's say I wanted to make sure that I align stuff to 100 pixels from the left, 100 pixels from the top. So I drag out this thing here, like that. And then I can take a shape, and I can easily attach it here, and it snaps. If you're using your trackpad, it even vibrates, which is super useful. You can't hear it if I did it, but yeah. All right, so that's rulers. Oh, and you can copy your ruler. So you can go to guides, and then you can say copy guides. You insert a new slide, and then you can say paste guides. Boom, there you have your guides. Awesome. So final thing in the UI, adjusting the toolbar. So in my toolbar, there are two items that are not in your toolbar. Play in window and remove background. And I'm going to show you how these work. So play in window is this button here, and it's super useful because you will get a real window that you can drag around, you can resize it. You get this controller window here. And why is this useful? Let's assume that you are on a call and you want to share part of your screen. Let's assume you've got a much bigger screen. And you can just put your presentation window to the top left corner. You've got your video call in another corner. And then you can just tell that video call, OK, take that window, present it into the call. That is super, super useful. And it's also useful when you're building your slides because you don't have to go into full screen presentation mode, and that's usually a lot easier. It's much easier or much more useful if you have a big screen. Oh, and then the other one, sorry. Remove background. Let's quickly find an image. Let's find an image of an orange. Yeah. This one. Copy image, put it here. So now this is fine because my background is white, but what happens if your background is not white, but it's green? So you can easily use remove background, boom, and then it's masked. As easy as that. All right, so more basic techniques. Distributing objects. So how to create a grid like that? There are a couple of ways to do that. You could use the distribute command. So let's take that and just copy and paste a couple of these. Position them, roughly. So we need another one, and then another one, another one, another one, and another one. All right, so now, it's difficult because they're not really aligned. So what you can do is you can say, well, distribute those like that. Oh, I selected another one. See, that's why it's so difficult to use that thing. Okay, so now they're distributed, and I can align these. And then I can try to align these vertically. Like that. All right, so that worked. But there is another way, and that might be more useful. So you can use Option and click drag. So I'm holding down the Option key, I'm clicking on the thing, and then I drag it to where I want it. So let's say, and let's look at the position. So this is at 9:10, and I'll drag it out to, let's say, 11:10. Okay, like that. All right, so now I do that again. And then you might be able to see that there are additional yellow arrows which indicate that it's equal distance now. And it also locks. So let me do that again here. And one more time. And then do it here. And here. Here. And here. And that was easier, I thought. So that is how to align and distribute objects. Now let's get to animations. So moving objects around. There are many ways to do that. And the thing that most people do is this first one. So let's move this one around to the right, to the middle, make it bigger, smaller, really big, just in case anybody went to sleep. So how to do that? So let's do it using actions. So up here in the editing bar, you've got animate, and you've got actions. So you can now say, let's add an effect and a move effect, and then it shows you what it's doing, and you get this shadow object here, and you can move it around. So let me move that here, and then you can click on that plus button, and then you can choose the next action you want to take. So let me move that to a different place, and then yet another place. Move again to here. We can also, zoom it up and move it to this place. Oh, and then why don't we change the colors? So let me change that color to, well, where is it? See? Well, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like that. Let's play it. So move, 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 and zoom, move here. Okay, so that's great, but there is a better way to do it. And that's magic move, and that's so much easier, as you will see. So let me show you how to do that. So here I've got my object, and let me actually make a duplicate of that slide and remove this sound. So here I've got my object. Now I'm going to duplicate my slide again, and I'm going to indent it, and that's another thing that's really super useful. So I press the Tab key while my slide is selected, and that will indent the slide, and I can now collapse it using my arrow keys, or this chevron here. So now let's go to the second slide here, and I'm going to move it here. Make another duplicate of that slide, move the thing down here, scale it. I'm going to turn it a different color, make another duplicate, move it here, and another duplicate. And let's make it real big, like this. All right, so now I'm going to select all those slides. And Magic Move is already turned on, and we can speed it up a little bit, and then play it. Boom, 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 and that was so much easier. So how can you use that to create something like this? Right. So this is where we start: expand, contract, expand, contract. So you probably guessed it. I had this little dot here. Then I created this grid, copied it again, took the first slide, copied that again, and then you can see that I have this magic move here. And now let me show you one more trick. So instead of using on-click, I'll change that to automatically. And then it autoplays. All right. All right, so. All right, so let's get to something which is super useful, multi-slide animations. So are you ready for some beautiful pictures? Yeah. All right, so I didn't take that myself. I think the first time I came to the conference, I had an Airbnb in that building. It's amazing, great view. So let's zoom in like that, and some more. This is a 4K picture, but we really get to the edge here, so it's hard to read that. Right, so how do you do that? Easy, it's Magic Move. So you insert your picture, you configure the slide to Magic Move, then you insert the same picture again, and you zoom it out or make it a lot bigger, and again, and again, and again. But why does it not cover this text? So what's the trick? So the trick here is, if you look at this outline here, I've got a couple of rectangles that I use for masking. So let me take those and quickly turn them red. So this is what I did. I layered them on top of the image to have like this beautiful border to make sure that it doesn't cover any of the stuff that I want to, be able to use to drive the presentation. All right, more beautiful pictures. Anybody recognize this? All right, so here's a panning effect. So we're panning the picture, and we're building out our outline, some more, and we're at the end of the panorama. So how do you do that? Well, again, like it's the same picture, and let me show you one more trick. So if you want to have more control or more visibility into what you can see, zoom out a lot to 25%, and then you've got way more editing space here, and you can see that I've got this very wide image, and then as I go to the next slide, you will see that I just change the position of the image, and that's it. One more. Some calm. And this doesn't show an additional context. It's just I couldn't decide, which panorama to take. I think this looks stunning. All right, so more multi-slide animations. So let's assume that you've got a video and you want to annotate that video and you want to do stuff. So you can do something that allows you to, have transitions across multiple slides while the video is playing. That's literally just the same video. It's one and the same video. It's playing across multiple slides. How do you do that? Let's zoom out. Fit to slide. When you insert a video, you can go to the movie settings, and then you just turn on play movie across slides, and that will ensure that the movie just keeps on playing on all the slides that you inserted on. So you insert the same video on all of those slides, and that's it. Great. So working with shapes. So this looks like an okay slide to me, but we can turn it into something that looks a lot better, like this. So how do you do that? So firstly, we need shapes. And here are, maybe you saw that Keynote has loads of shapes. Like they have shapes for a lot of things. But these are the shapes that you need to build like most things. You can use them to create architectural diagrams. You can use them to mask images, as I will show you in a minute. You can build almost anything from those shapes here. But there is someone else. So who's that? Anybody knows? How do you call that shape? Pentagon. That's correct. So there is a pentagon. But if you recall on the slide that I showed you, it's not a pentagon, it's a hexagon. And there is someone else very special, and that's rounded rectangle. So why are they special? Let's see. So if you go to the pentagon, you will notice that, does this work? No, it does not. Oh, it does. Okay, so you will notice that you've got this green dot. And if you click the rectangle, the rounded rectangle, there is another green dot as well. So let me show you the rounded rectangle first. So click the green dot, and then you can drag it. It becomes a circle. And drag it to the other side, it becomes a square. And if I drag it to, let's say, 8, you get a really nice rounded corner. So everyone who's using rounded rectangles to highlight stuff on their slides, as you will see later on, please make sure that you've got your corner radius set to, 8 or 10 or something like that. But please make sure that you don't set it to, let's assume that I have something like this. And then if you crank it up a little, now it becomes a pill. You might want to have a pill, but most often you don't. And then if you drag it back, then it looks much better. All right, so that's a rounded rectangle. Now let's get to the pentagon. Are you ready? It's not a pentagon, it's a triangle. And how far does it go? Shai?
I don't know. 20.
These go to 11.
11, that's fine.
Right? And this is how you create a hexagon. So, let's look at some logic operators because they are quite amazing, not just in programming, but also for slides. So let's assume we've got those two shapes here, and we wanted to do stuff with it. So if we unite them, we get this kind of shape. If we intersect them, we get this kind of shape. If we subtract them, we get this kind of shape. And if we exclude them, we get this kind of shape. So now let's use that to create this thing that I showed you before. So first, I'm going to get me a hexagon. And I'll do that on this slide. So command drag. Then I'll take that, copy, paste it here. And this is now snapping. I don't want snapping, so I'll hold down the command key so I get rid of snapping. Paste it again, get rid of snapping. Well, I might use snapping here. All right, so this is nice. I have another group, and now I can, start assembling this. Oops. Oops. Like this. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. Right, so put it here. Take one and put it here. So now I'm going to take this image, put it here, and by now you should know what I need to do in order to put it into the background. Send to back, like that. All right, so now we want to combine it. Let's see how we can do that. So select arrange, but there is no operator for doing that. And that's because images can't be combined. So what are we going to do? Well, I told you that, the basic shapes are all you need. So let's take that, turn it white, like that. Send it to the background, send the image to the background, and then we're going to select everything, deselect that image, go to arrange, do subtract, and boom, there you have your beehive effect. Pretty, right? This is one of the things that's actually easier in PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, you can combine your shapes, and then you can say, well, put this image into the background of a shape. All right, so images are beautiful, but we're developers, so we want to work with code, right? So here is how your code might look like in your IDE. So we've got dark mode and light mode. So how can you achieve that? So a lot of people will go to the web to use online code formatting and highlighting tools and then paste stuff into Xcode, or maybe you think, oh, I need to highlight everything myself manually. No, it's easier. So first go to Xcode, then go into your theme settings, choose your favorite theme, make a copy of that, then crank up the font size to 32 or something like that. And then you can just copy and paste the stuff over into your Xcode window, into your Keynote window, and it looks beautiful like that, with the exact coloring that you've got in Xcode. But there is a problem. So on this rounded rectangle here with my beautiful rounded corners, I use the same background color as I did in Xcode. But what if I choose a different background color? So what's that? So that is the background color that got copied from Xcode. So let's see if we can, take a closer look. And now you can see the problem really, really well. And if you want to animate anything on that slide, it's going to be really, really difficult. So let's fix that. So let's select all of the code, then go into text, select the cog, go into the color for the text background, select transparent, and now it's beautiful. And let me demonstrate that by using this thing here, pasting it here, putting it into the background, and now you can see that it's fully transparent. So I showed this to a person this afternoon, and then they were like, but isn't there a better way to do this? So let me present Zach mode. So what we did was we went into Xcode, and then we made a copy of that theme here, and we set the background to transparent, right? So this background now is transparent, so now let me copy that, go back into Keynote, delete this, delete that, pastes, and now it's transparent, as you can see. So perfect. And that's so much more scalable because you just need to do it once in Xcode, and then you can be an autopilot in Keynote. So thank you, Zach. Callouts. So I've seen a lot of you using callouts today. Wonderful, that's great stuff. So how can you animate those callouts? By now you already know it. It's magic move. So you can move stuff around like that. And it's actually just this rectangle. You need to make sure that you're using the same rectangle on all of your slides. That's the trick behind it. Okay. So how are we about time? How much time have I left? All right. Should we keep going? Okay. Okay. I'm going to show you something. So this is from a presentation I gave here last year, I think. And in that presentation, there is a problem. So we've got this code here, and you will see what the problem is. So I'm navigating through this code here, and I'm showing people how you can go from a Hello World application to something that looks like your contact list and stuff like that. And as we go through the slides, you will notice that the animations of the code look kind of okay-ish, but there are some stray characters flying around, and it's not perfect.
I really love SwiftUI.
So,
I can now write code much faster, and it's easier to read as well.
Well, let's go back. So, in this video that I'm going to play in a second, you will see that in a much, much better way. So, let me play it.
I really love SwiftUI. I can now write code much faster, and it's easier to read as well. So if you love SwiftUI as much as I do, you will be excited to hear that we've recently made it easier to use Firebase Remote Config with SwiftUI. So instead of having to write a lot of code like this, all you have to do is use the Remote Config property wrapper. First, define a local variable. Then, use the Remote Config property wrapper to connect it to your Remote Config parameter. To fetch and activate new remote config values, I will just call fetch and activate as soon as the view appears. The property wrapper will receive any new value for the key it is configured for, and thanks to SwiftUI state management, the UI will be updated accordingly. Oh, And did you know we also support real-time updates for remote config now? That's something I will show you in the next video. But first, let me tell you that I really love SwiftUI.
Okay, you get the point. So, how did I do that? And instead of, going through the exercise here, because we're short on time, I think, let me show you what I did in this keynote presentation. So, first of all, I configured the screen to be portrait mode. And you can configure the width to match the exact sizes of Twitter or whatever. And then, so now, you can see that the code is actually different parts and pieces, and I use, multiple slides here to make all those transitions from one piece of the code to the other. So let me play it for you, and it's an autoplay as well. So it automatically advances from slide to slide without me having to do anything, and that enabled me to synchronize it perfectly with that video footage that you saw. And then I just had to export that to an MP4 file, send it to my video editors, and tell them, hey, can you please, do all the pip work and all of that. So let's disassemble this. So as you can see, this is an individual piece, and that's why it's easy, to make the transition to over here. Then I make plays to, so from here to there, I move everything down, and then for this one here, I use the keyboard animation, right? So that's a built-in animation that you've got in Keynote, so really easy. Let's see, so, and sometimes you need to make space. Let me see if there's a place where I do that. I think it might be here. Yeah, that, right? So where we go from the red color to a hex color. So, see that? So that is, I cheated because that is not transparent, as you can see. So I basically overlaid that. And in order to do that, and let me show you what I do. So you go in, you zoom in really, really a lot, and then you try to match it to the background, but it doesn't really work. So what do you do? So you go in, you turn down the opacity, then you try to match it, and then you can use the arrow keys to move it pixel by pixel until you're happy. So now it's not blurry, so that's fine. Then you increase the opacity again, and that's it. That's how you create those really, really, pixel perfect animations. Cool. So now you know how I create my slides.
But there is one more thing.
You understand the nature of an object so much more when you understand how it came to be. Of course, as designers, you live in the future. It's not that we're not interested in the work we've done before, it's just we are so consumed by what we haven't done yet.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I don't know. So sorry about that. All right.
All right, thank you. Hello, hello. All right, thank you so much, Peter. Does anyone have any questions? Everyone's stunned. Oh, yes, you've got a question. Would you like to go and use the microphone? No. Oh.
I'll just speak. So,
No, you can't, because they can't hear you at home. Hang on a minute, stay there. You've got him? All right. Oh, God.
Good? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of using that opacity trick that you showed, if you remove the background like you showed us before, it would help, right? Like, because there won't be a background.
But it won't cover the previous.
Yeah, so, because, let me show you. You know, this is live. So let's remove the opacity here. Yeah, I mean, there are many ways to do it. There's probably a way to do that. Let's look at the animation here. So this piece now is, you know, it kicks off after transition. So let's start here. It goes to the next slide. And now, well, it's not even visible, right? That's the problem. So it would, you know, it would overlay over this, over the background red, and you would notice that. Let me try again. Boom. Yeah, so it's, maybe let's change that to, where is it? Here. Well, it's gone.
It's gone.
Peter, I meant the background color of the text itself.
Yeah, oh, of the entire text.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't cover the previous
Yeah.
text.
So the letters just match.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know,
For
the
those
thing,
at home, there's conversation in the auditorium.
yeah. So I invite you to, you know, take office hours with me.
All right, any other questions from the auditorium, please? Anyone? No? Okay, all stunned into silence. Well done. Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause to Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Please gather your things.